Massachusetts is now the 5th state to allow incarcerated people to make phone calls for free. The new bill signed into law by Governor Maura Healey includes all 14 correctional facilities in the state. There is no limit to the number of calls each prisoner can make. The Massachusetts Department of Corrections says it recognizes the importance of incarcerated individuals maintaining bonds with their loved ones. No-cost calls will alleviate the financial burden and remove barriers for an individual in MADOC custody to stay connected with their outside support system. My next guest went from serving time behind bars to becoming one of the longest-serving TV judges around. We got great news for all the fans of courtroom shows because Judge Greg Mathis is back on TV. The show Judge Mathis was distributed for 24 consecutive seasons by Warner Brothers and Telepictures, winning a Daytime Emmy and an NAACP Image Award. And his new show, Mathis Court with Judge Mathis, is currently airing on JusticeCentral.tv. Now, Judge Mathis has always remembered where he came from, and he is heavily involved in politics and heavily involved in his community. And his new show comes as several legal issues affecting the black community are going to be spotlighted in 2024. The great Judge Mathis joins us right now to talk about all of us. My brother, Judge, so good to see you. First of all, what do you think about when you have such a journey, man? When you think about where you've come from and where you are now, what do you say? What do you think?
Grace and miracles. God's grace and God putting a miracle in my life is, Mark, there's no other way to explain it. You know, I was a troubled youth, in and out of juvenile, went to jail as an adult, carrying a gun. Then 15 years later, the youngest judge in Michigan history. That's nothing I could do to cause that, to allow that to happen. That's all God's work.
Man, I hear that, man. And I appreciate how humble you are about it. And unlike some people who make it out and shut the door behind them, you said, look, I'm going to get through this dough and I'm going to pull people in with me. And that's why I have such admiration for you, especially the fact that you've been lobbying lawmakers in the inner city to say, look, we got to put money in the inner city. It doesn't seem like Congress is caring much about passing legislation these days, but it seems like this is something worth funding, no?
That's correct. You know, I constantly am involved in major cities around the country and trying to uplift our people in particular. In Chicago, a couple of weeks ago, I was there campaigning with the mayor, Brandon Johnson, getting his message out to get a budget passed that would serve both the folks in Chicago, but as well be humane toward the immigrants that the governor of Texas and Florida is dumping on all the black mayors around the country. So that's one of the focuses I'm involved in now.
Is it?
And in that vein, we were able to pass that budget that the mayor proposed, and we are requesting $5 billion from the federal government, who at this point has not done a good job with helping to manage those crises. And quite frankly, they're going to pay for it if they don't. Indeed, the Biden administration will, because the fact is, in many ways, this is, in my opinion, an attempt at voter suppression among black people. It's no mistake that the majority, not all, of the cities that have had immigrants bust in have black mayors. And we see now the citizens are turning against their black mayors, blaming them for the immigrant overcrowding and the depletion of their budgets. And so I think the federal government needs to have a stronger hand in managing that and in funding the humane conditions that they say they desire.
Judge, I'm looking at these polls, and I'm just in the streets, and I'm hearing people talk about 2024, and I'm not hearing any excitement. You know, even in 2020, people were like, well, they weren't excited about Biden, but they really didn't want Trump. But now I'm a little worried that people they're not excited enough about the Biden-Harris administration. Are you getting similar vibes, or are you hearing something different?
Oh, it's worse than that. Indeed, a poll just disclosed that 22% of black folks intend to support Trump, or they do at this point. Woo. And I think a lot of that from, yes, what I hear on the street, you know, I operate on the streets and in the suites. So the brothers on the street, when I go back to the community center in Detroit and my affiliations that remain, those who are recovering from the street life, their sense is that black men in particular admire his bravado and his focus on business and economics. And it's kind of like they're getting the 3-card Molly, as I tell these brothers, they're about to throw the red card on you, because it's all a con, in my opinion. The things that Trump is saying to cater to black folks. They talk about him letting black prisoners out. Yeah, he let a few high profile out, and that was, once again, game. My friend, whom I've been working with since he's been on release, Southwest T from BMF, whom I've known for many years, well, he was let out by Trump at the last minute. You have Lil Wayne, who was headed toward a 12-year sentence 2 weeks before Trump pardoned him. So these are the things you're hearing in the community. I had 3 guys come before me while I was serving as a judge on television. And by the way, I was a sitting judge in Detroit. I like to make that known to folks for 5 years. But I asked, how do you feel about Trump? Because I was feeling the temperature, and everybody was saying, all the brothers coming back from home, they love Trump. And sure enough, on my show, that's what they were saying. And then Kwame Kilpatrick, the former mayor of Detroit, who was raised as a black nationalist and mayor of a 80% black city, he is now a Trump supporter once he came out, because Trump pardoned him. So those are the things that he's been doing to infiltrate, as I say, our community at the grassroots level.
I only got a few seconds left, Doc, but I got to ask you a question, man. The man who killed George Floyd, Officer Derek Chauvin, the murderer of George Floyd, was stabbed apparently 22 times in prison for I guess it's an act of revenge. And I've been just trying to find a way in my spirit to pray for my enemies, to forgive my enemies. I ain't got much. When you heard that, what'd you think?
I tried not to smile. However, I felt that
the Detroit came back out. I see guys still working on you too.
That's right.
All right. On that note, we got to go, Doc. So good to see you, everybody. Make sure you check out Mathis Court with Judge Mathis on JustEssential.tv.